Everyone, thanks so much for joining us for this very special episode of the Strackhouse. So it is February, and of course, the beginning of the year, we all try to make resolutions, especially some of them being fitness-driven, some of them being self-improvement. We all want to be better, and by February, a lot of us actually already drop that commitment. So I'm here with a little inspiration. I'm here with someone very special. Brandon is a personal trainer. He is a boxing instructor as well as kettlebell coach, all the things. Brandon, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So first off, I want to tell you a little bit about Brandon. Brandon and I met, 9 months ago probably? Yeah, 9 months. Because he and I started together boxing right at the beginning of my pregnancy, and he has pretty much helped me through the entire pregnancy, keeping me moving, making sure that I stay active. But boxing is kind of your forte, and it's a huge part of your life. Can you tell everyone a little bit how you got into boxing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started boxing when I was a teenager, and it kind of just stuck with me as I was growing up. I used it as a way to keep myself in shape, especially throughout my high school and college years, and I definitely think that it was a good thing for me to get into just because it kind of kept me straight. I wasn't the best kid growing up, but
we all have our issues.
Right. Definitely wasn't the best kid growing up, but it definitely gave me a way to kind of center myself, keep myself grounded, and just help me deal with stress a lot, especially going through those hard, tough schooling years.
Yeah. And boxing, I want to talk about, obviously boxing is good for your fitness, and I'm going to let you explain a little bit about that. But I think boxing also kind of gives you a different mentality, if that makes sense. You feel strong, you feel powerful, you feel empowered. First, let's talk about the fitness aspect of it. Can you tell us why boxing is so good for you?
Absolutely. So I believe boxing is one of the best workouts that you can get started doing. For one, it's easy to pick up. It's a very, very easy sport to pick up, but it's hard to master, so there's always things that you can be working on. I like to think of it as, the jack of all trades, in a sense, just because you're working on athleticism, you're developing strength and power, and it looks pretty cool if you ask me.
I think so. And I always get excited when we do kind of filming stuff, because it's fun to look back and also look at your technique and look at stuff like that. Can you talk about the mental side of when it comes to boxing?
I would have to say it is a very, very intricate mental game, especially when you start to get into it. There's a lot of things mentally that you need to be focusing on, especially when you start working with a trainer. That is what I recommend everyone start to do. Find yourself a certified boxing trainer and get started with them, just because they have the fundamentals laid down for you. But it's definitely something that once you get started with, you have to stay in the moment. When I talk to my clients about it, I call it mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically a way to, keep yourself centered, and it's something that you need to have in boxing in order to make it through the workout correctly. You can't be thinking about other things while you're boxing, especially when you're working with a trainer. If you start deviating from what you're supposed to be doing, your trainer's probably gonna
yes.
make sure you know.
I can attest to this.
Yeah, but throughout all my times training with different clients, I can always say that, mindfulness is something that everyone starts to understand, especially after they go through their first session. I always ask new clients, so how do you feel after the workout? And they always tell me 9 times out of 10, I feel great. I feel very empowered. And the second question I always ask them is, do you feel stressed at all? And 10 times out of 10, it's a no. So it kind of makes you, de-stress in a way. Like I said, the mindfulness part puts you in the moment, keeps you in the moment, and kind of makes you realize that any stress that you had prior to your workout is insignificant. And you're able to cope with things a lot better.
I love that, because I think a lot of the reason why people make resolutions or want to get into fitness if they're at the beginning of their journey is to escape something or feel a certain way, because the mental aspect of working out, I think, is huge. And that's something that, you've kind of helped bring into, I know, so many lives. Can you tell me if someone's feeling discouraged, maybe they've worked out a couple times here and there that month, but they're just not feeling like they're hitting their goals. Can you talk to them and, what would you say?
Well, one thing I think that they need to do is do a little bit of self-discovery. And like I said, I think boxing is one of the best things that you could try, especially for this year. And like I said, it's very, very easy to pick up, but it's hard to master. And especially when you start getting into it and you start hitting things, it's definitely like no other type of fitness that you'll ever experience, if you ask me personally.
No, I agree. And I also want to kind of let people know we are talking to someone who is also kind of a master. And you have, an amateur fight coming up. Can you tell people a little bit about just excitement, being in that next level boxing?
Yes. So hopefully, depending on how the circumstances with the world is, I am planning on having an amateur fight here in the next coming weeks. I'm looking forward to it, and like I said, it just puts you on a different level when you actually compete as a fighter. Like I said, this is why I did it when I was younger, because it keeps you straight, and you can't really have any slip-ups, because everything you do outside the ring, it kind of transfers inside the ring too. And so that's why for me, it just kind of keeps me accountable, because I don't want to have to deal with the consequences of not being at the tip-top shape that you're supposed to be. That's one of the things I like to tell people. Whenever I step into the ring and whenever I'm facing an opponent, I always think to myself, I got to make sure that I'm going to make my opponent regret any time they slacked off at the gym, every time they went on the weekend and they decided not to train as hard, every session they missed, any time they weren't focused, any time they didn't do their running. And that's the level that I want to be at, which is why I think I have that mental edge whenever I step into the ring, because I'm never nervous, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm more nervous before the fight than actually being in the fight. That's actually the most exciting time. Wow. Just because you're finally able to showcase your skills, you can finally go 100%. And like I said, it's fun. It's very exhilarating, especially when you win. If you lose, it just kind of teaches you that, put your chin up, keep your chin up, and keep on walking forward, because the boxing game, especially the fighting game, is a very supportive system. Your team is very close-knit. They go with you through the whole training camp, so they see all your ups and downs. They know what you're going through. And so it's just a very, very good way to, self-develop yourself in a sense, because it just teaches you really good fundamentals in terms of how you should be thinking, and it also develops relationships too. A boxing team, especially with fighters, is very, very close-knit as well. We're always seeing each other almost every single day. We train next to each other, so we know how it feels like. And like I said, that's why win or lose, it's always a good feeling at the end.
And the other thing about that too, I think you kind of touched on a topic that's broader too. I think fitness brings people together. There's such a connection in just such a fitness world. I think, the girls who work out in our group, we've all become so close. And, I think that it's such a huge aspect of it, because you're going through something together. You're putting us through pain together. But I think if anyone's kind of nervous and they're just thinking, oh, I want to try boxing, but I'm not, I'm not at peak level, or I don't feel like I can work out right now, what would you tell them?
I would say take that thought out of your head. It's not something that you need to get yourself ready for. The best way to get started is just start. Like I said, it's very, very easy to pick up, and you'll find that it gets very addicting very, very fast. Yeah, so don't be intimidated at all. Most of the time, especially if we're doing it for fitness, you're not going to get hit. You are going to learn how to defend yourself, and that's one of the key points that I tell women too. Like, boxing is one of those sports that you can really learn how to defend yourself with, and because it's very empowering once you go through it for the first time. Especially the way I train my clients, I cater to the level. I'm not going to make you do like a 10-mile run, come back, 1,000 burpees, and then we'll get started with punching. It's always catered to your level, and we just go from there.
I love that. And I can also attest to two things in there. When I first started boxing, I don't even know if I told you this. When I first started, I started just for self-defense reasons in college, and then kind of continued out and ended up loving it. And same thing like you're saying, like I felt like I could, obviously you never know what you're going to do in that situation, but I feel more prepared that I could somehow defend myself. And the other thing that you were talking about, that it is catered to your level right now, obviously 9 months pregnant, I'm not doing things that other girls in the group are doing, or I'm just not doing things that I could be doing, if I weren't pregnant. So you really have been really great about kind of modifying to my needs. And again, if you're in a group, he's able to modify to each individual person. So it's been great. Brandon is in the DFW area. So if you are in this area, you're looking for more information, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Best way to reach me is through my Instagram handle, or you can find me on Facebook. My Instagram handle is Fight for Fitness. It's one word. And find me on Facebook. It's Brandon Briones. And just message me, DM me, and we can get something started.
Awesome. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. Of course, very exciting. Stay on your fitness journey. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out. I can connect you with Brandon as well. And hopefully you have a great workout this week if that's what you're trying to do. And we'll see you next time.